Yet, later that year, she would end up dropping her single called Free Smoke, while again not doing anything for her immediately. This song would eventually play a role in her current success. A few years would pass, and in 2021, an A&R, a part of a label called J Rebel Music, would hear Sexy Red's Free Smoke record, and she would get signed to J Rebel Music. J Rebel Music would get behind her and help push her music, and by 2023, after years of grinding, Sexy Red drops Pound Town and makes it big. If we listen to this story being told, then you might be asking, how is Sexy Red an industry plant? Her growth seems organic. Well, this story isn't entirely accurate. This is what the labels want you to think. Sexy Red did get signed to J Rebel Music, but it wasn't in 2021 like they claim. It was back in 2018 when she first went viral. I discovered this by looking at the licensing information on YouTube to her songs, which clearly states that J Rebel Music was already her label in her song Free Smoke that came out back in 2018. The very song they claim to have discovered Sexy Red with, a song from 3 years before, that wasn't even big. This is a label cover story, made for all industry plants. In reality, she was signed back in 2018, and the record label has been pulling the strings behind the scenes, making her the Sexy Red she is today. For example, if we look at her first video for the song 1,000 Jugs, you will notice a completely different looking Sexy Red from today's version. In this video, she looks completely unrecognizable, as she's missing the many face tattoos that now cover her face, giving her her signature look. In the song, she also wasn't rapping about the stuff she is known to rap about today. No lyrics about her life for her private parts are in sight. I believe this song going viral is what led J Music to signing her, as it was what brought some attention to her in the first place. She would sign in 2018, and her song Free Smoke would drop under J Rebel Music. J Rebel Music was behind turning Sexy Red from a nobody to this superstar as they constructed her image. They admitted that managing Sexy Red was a 24-hour task. They turned her into the rapper which is known for rapping extremely sexual lyrics. This label knew exactly what Sexy Red needed to represent to be signed by a major label, and they turned her into that. The face tattoos, the look, and the lyrics were all constructed by the record labels. By the time Sexy Red dropped Pound Town in 2023, it was released through Warner Music, which means the major labels were already behind it. Its virality was completely fabricated, as record labels invest millions into TikTok marketing. Sexy Red's Pound Town took off on TikTok first, and this is because the major labels were behind her, working the song behind the scenes. All they have to do is pay some big TikTok influencers to use the song for some videos, and that's how they get her traction on TikTok. In 2023, she would also end up signing to a record label called Gamma, a new label that was created by Larry Jackson, who was the former Apple Music Global Creative Director. Gamma is a record label backed by $1 billion investment from many big companies in the industry. Larry started his label in 2023, and Sexy Red was one of the first artists he signed. Larry is actually a very powerful man in the industry, a man with a lot of money behind him and a lot of connections. A man who can definitely take Sexy Red to new levels. He has been associated with artists like Snoop Dogg, Usher, Nicki Minaj, and Drake. This is the reason we have been seeing Sexy Red everywhere, and also why we have seen her with many big stars. Larry Jackson is actually great friends with superstar Drake, as Drake was once exclusive to Apple, where they formed a connection. Drake even shouted Larry out in his song. This is the reason why an upcoming Sexy Red, who is still in the early moments of her career, ends up getting a co-sign from Drake. This co-sign alone put so many mainstream eyes on Sexy Red, and it was all fabricated by the labels. Larry also got Sexy Red a co-sign from Nicki Minaj, which also boosted her career when it comes to women. By Sexy Red signing with Larry, she now has the full backing of the mainstream machine behind her. This is why all eyes are on Sexy Red right now. It's because she was chosen by the elite in the industry. Her career did not take off organically. It was manufactured by men in suits in a record label. People are really under the impression that she is just acting like herself, when in reality, she is buying into the character the labels want her to be. You may be wondering, why did they choose Sexy Red to become the biggest artist of 2023? It all goes back to the agenda the music industry is pushing. Like I have said before, Sexy Red is the continuation of artists like Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, and Lil' Kim, the three women that shaped and molded a generation of young women. Due to the music women like Nicki and Cardi make, they influence an entire generation of OF girls that we see today. Women who think selling their beauty online is an honorable way to make money. These women were tricked by these artists like Nicki and Cardi to think that what they were doing was liberating, as they were using their body for what they wanted. In reality, this was